Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Vikrama Bhurabhuva Svascha.
Vikramo Bhurabhuvaha Swascha.
Kshemasya Sharanasya Cha.
Kshemasya Sharanasya Cha.
Sarvakama Varasyapi.
Sarvakama Varasyapi.
Haris Charanaspadam.
Harishcharana Aspadam. Vikramo Bhurabhuvaha Swascha.
Vikrama Bhurabhuva Svascha.
Kshemasya Sharanasya Cha.
Kshemasya Sharanasya Cha.
Sarvakama Varasyapi.
Sarvakama Varasyapi.
Harishcharana Ashpadam.
Haris Charana Aspadam. Vikrama.
Vikramaha.
Forward steps.
Forward steps.
Bhu Bhuvaha.
Bhuhu Bhuvaha.
Of the lower and upper planets.
Of the lower and upper planets.
Swaha.
Swaha.
As well as of heaven.
As well as of heaven.
Cha.
Cha.
Also.
Also.
Kshemasya.
Kshemasya.
Of protection of all that we have.
Of protection of all that we have.
Sharanasya.
Charanasya.
Of fearlessness.
Of fearlessness.
Cha.
Cha.
Also.
Also.
Sarvakama.
Sarvakama.
All that we need.
All that we need.
Varasya.
Varasya.
Of all benedictions.
Of all benedictions.
Api.
Api.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Hare.
Hare.
Of the Lord.
Of the Lord.
Charana.
Charanaha.
The lotus feet.
The lotus feet.
Aspadam.
Aspadam.
Shelter.
Shelter.
Translation. Thus the forward steps of the Lord are the shelter of the upper, lower and heavenly planets, as well as for all that we need. His lotus feet serve as protection from all kinds of fear. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. For absolute protection from all sorts of fear, as well as for all our needs of life, we must take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Not only in this planet, but also in all the upper, lower and heavenly planets. This absolute dependence on the lotus feet of the Lord is called pure devotional service, and it is directly hinted at within this passage. No one should have any kind of doubt in this matter, nor should one be inclined to seek the help of any other demigods, because all of them are dependent on Him only. Everyone except the Lord Himself is dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Even the all-pervading Supersoul is also dependent on the supreme aspect of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Om Agyan Tirinandasya Kyanajana Shalakayam Chakshun Anmeridam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master is Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So open my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto His lotus feet. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
So the lotus feet of the Lord serve as a protection from all kinds of fear. In this material existence, we're constantly fearful. And the cause of fear is ignorance. Just like when you go, I used to go when I was a young boy. I used to go to the tunnel. In my hometown, there was a big tunnel under the castle. And I used to go there to experience some adventure. So the tunnel was very dark. I would pass through to test my courage. So because it was dark, I was afraid. You do not know what's going to happen, who's going to be there, what kind of an animal or some murderer or I don't know. So ignorance means fearfulness. If we want to get free from this fearfulness, then we must acquire transcendental knowledge. Not a relative knowledge. Relative knowledge. How does the computer work? How does the internet works? How do I log in? How do I do this? No. Transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is beyond material creation, beyond anything materially created. That is why we should approach a bona fide spiritual master who's coming in a disciplic succession to acquire transcendental knowledge, not to get a massage, ego massage. No, we must be ready to accept whatever the spiritual master says. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of the acharyas in our disciplic succession, he comments on the verse in the Bhagavad Gita. There is a verse, Vyavasatmika buddhi. Eva kur, what is it? You must have resolute determination in order to achieve perfection of human form of life. In order to attain pure Krishna consciousness, you must have resolute determination. And if your determination is many-branched, all over the place, I want to do this, I want to do that, simultaneously everything I want, but ultimately I end up doing nothing, then it doesn't really help. Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam, prasad, something like that. For those whose intelligence is many-branched, those who are attached to sense gratification, for them the resolute determination to practice bhakti yoga, Krishna consciousness, does not take place. Does not take place. You will have no energy, no strength. You need lots of energy to get out of the material existence and go back home, back to Godhead. You need lots of energy. So if you waste your energy, if you waste your potential, if you waste your intelligence, then you have nothing left. You have nothing left. What do you want to offer to the Lord? Srila Prabhupada says that it is not that one should take sannyas or one should not take renunciation in such a way that he gives all the money to his family members and then with empty pockets he takes up Krishna consciousness and he starts begging. No, he should give all the money to Krishna, not the family. Krishna consciousness. When we say give to Krishna, it means give to the devotees of Krishna. Who is a devotee? One who preaches the message of Krishna consciousness all around the world. So to such a person, we should give our hard-earned money. That is real renunciation. But our intelligence is many-branched. We give to such a person hospital, philanthropy. Why? Because we're good? Because we have good heart? No. That is cheating. Vipralipsa, one of the defects of the conditioned existence. Why is it cheating? Someone might say, oh Purujit, you speaking, you criticizing such a nice person. He gave $1 million to feed the poor African children and you say he's a cheater? Oh, very bad. Yes, he's a cheater. Because he's giving with a motive. There must be a motive. What is that motive? To be praised. Oh, he's such a good man. See? And when his prestige is being threatened and he becomes agitated. Oh, you were offending me? Such a good person? What is the use of feeding children? What is the use of that? That is for the body. We're not against feeding. In Krishna consciousness movement, we feed. You come to the temple, we give you Krishna prasadam 24 hours, anytime. Not that we are against feeding, that is not bad. But if you say that, oh, this is equal to devotional service to Krishna, then you are fool number one. It is not. It is deviated. Your service propensity was deviated. Many-branched intelligence. Deviated from where? From the lotus feet of the Lord. We are being advised when we study the Srimad-Bhagavatam to focus on these first two cantos, because they are the lotus feet of the Lord. One should not jump in his meditation to the beautiful face of Krishna. Krishna's face is very beautiful. The other day I was reading that one who meditates on the merciful glance of Krishna upon his devotee is very compassionate. When you look at the face of Krishna, you become immediately pacified in the mind. It's so nice. But this lotus face of Krishna is also compared to the 10th canto of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which deal with the confidential pastimes of Krishna. So, if we want to, it is not that we are against meditation on the face of Krishna. That is, of course, very nice. But if you want to make it perfect, then you must first of all start with the lotus feet. So, this is comparison to the different cantos of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. The Srimad-Bhagavatam has 12 cantos. And Srila Prabhupada, he commented on the 10th cantos. 10 cantos up until the 13th chapter. 13th or 14th? 13th. The bewilderment of Lord Brahma. The coward boys. Very interesting pastime. So one is advised to thoroughly study the first two cantos. Don't jump immediately to the face of Krishna. Even when you are in a temple, there are many temples in the world, you can take advantage where the devotees install the deity of Krishna. Usually Radha and Krishna, or Gaurnitai, or sometimes Lord Nrsimha, or sometimes Lord Ramachandra. Different forms. Krishna has many different forms. He is original Swayam Rupam Krishna Shyama Sundaram, but he for his pleasure he manifests in different forms. So when you enter the temple, you wash your feet, you pay your obeisances. This is generally done if you want to follow the etiquette, if you want to be pakka, if you want to make an impression on the devotees. They will immediately, if you pay your obeisances, the devotees who live in the temple, they will immediately note down, oh, this is an elevated soul. He's paying his obeisances. Because it is not so easy for the puffed up Kali Yuga man, puffed up Facebook man, Instagram man to pay his obeisances. What to speak of paying obeisances to the Lord? He might pay obeisances to Satan, right? There's these Satanists. They very gladly offer obeisances to Satan. The thing they do not know that the Satan is also coming from Krishna. That intelligence they don't have. Why should I bow down to Satan? I bow down to Krishna. Satan will be automatically pleased. These are nonsense ideas. Satan, Matan, Phaeton. Krishna is the source of everyone. Janmadiyasya yataha. That is God. Not that God has competitor. The definition of God is no competitor. No competitor. I was talking to Maitreya Rishi Prabhu that Krishna, Maitreya made this nice remark, is that Krishna, usually in the action movies, Arnold Schwarzenegger, when there's a fight, then they make it very long, right? Schwarzenegger, or what is his name? Rock. What is the Schwarzenegger of today?
Schwarzenegger of today? Oh, The Rock. Yeah.
The Rock, yeah. You do not know?
I know, but I've forgotten because he's not as nice as Krishna.
He's not as strong as Schwarzenegger.
rock. Yeah, he's known as the rock. Everyone knows.
Anyway, whatever damn nonsense.
Whatever damn nonsense.
So when they fight, there's a very long fight. Yeah. Yeah. But when you read in the Krishna book, when Krishna is fighting the demons, immediately, so one kick, and immediately the demon is killed. Krishna is just, there's no, they can't even fight with Krishna. Krishna is unconquerable. It is a joke if you want to fight Krishna. Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, great demons. There were also devotees in disguise, by the way, but they were playing like that for Krishna's pleasure. So there was a little fight there. Krishna was playing with them. So he was pretending, oh, now I am losing the fight. But otherwise, Krishna finishes all the demons who are coming to Vrindavan or Mathura. In Mathura, different demons are coming to fight with Krishna. Krishna, each time he finishes the demon very fast. So there's no comparison. So anyway, if you come to the temple, you pay your obeisances, make an impression on the devotees. Oh, such a nice person. He's paying obeisances. He's so humble. Just like George Harrison, he was a very humble soul. Because he was a very famous musician. There was a band called the Beatles at that time. That was a very popular band. It was just like the Justin Bieber today, right?
Bieber, yes.
Bieber fever. So George Harrison, he bowed down to Krishna. He was chanting his name. He supported the devotees. He gave them a mansion. Bhaktivedanta Manor in England. It is still going on. And then when you see the deity of Krishna, then you meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna. You should think like that. This is the attitude of a devotee. A devotee is always thinking, I am an insignificant little part and parcel of Krishna. Māmaivamcha jiva bhuta jiva loka sanatana. Manasastrani indriyani prakriti-stani karsati. Krishna says that these living entities here in this world, they're my minute, fragmental parts and parcels. They're struggling with the senses and the mind in this world. Why? Because they're minute. The Mayavadi, they say, oh, you are God. You have simply forgotten. Now you're struggling with the mind and the senses. You try to meditate on how you are God. But that intelligence doesn't come. Why do I have this nonsense mind and senses that are disturbing me? Who has, how come, again, the competitor, who has made me in such a condition? Who has put me in this condition? That intelligence doesn't come. That is why the Srimad-Bhagavatam condemns the Mayavadi, the impersonalists. Yenye ramindaksha vimuktamanina stvayasta bhavat avishuddha buddhaya aruhyena krichrena. That means a very tedious, austere. Krichrena. It sounds like a very tedious word.
It sounds very severe.
Aruhyena krichrena. Padam patanti ado nadata yusmadangraya. Avishuddha Buddha, they're less intelligent. Their intelligence is not yet purified. Why? Because they have neglected the lotus feet of Arabindakshayam. The lotus eyed. Again, Krishna is there. Arabindakshayam. And our Srila Prabhupada also, that AC, we call Srila Prabhupada AC Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Swami Prabhupada. So that AC stands for his name, Abhay Charanarabindam. His father, Srila Prabhupada's father, was a pure Vaishnava, and he gave him the name Abhay Charan. And that name, it means that Srila Prabhupada is fearless. Abhay means fearless. Why? Because he has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Charana. Even here in this shloka, it is mentioned that word charana, the lotus feet. Then later on, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told Prabhupada that at his initiation, because you're supposed to change your name at the initiation. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said that his father already named him. His father already named him. He already initiated. You simply add Charanarabindam. That was an addition of Bhaktisiddhanta. So then Srila Prabhupada became Abhay Charanarabindam. They would call him Abhay Charanarabindam, Abhay Babu. His godbrothers would call him affectionately Abhay Babu. Anyway, we should not call Srila Prabhupada like that. We should not be foolish. That is very confidential. For us, Srila Prabhupada is Prabhupada. Prabhupada has two meanings. Srila Prabhupada explains two meanings, maybe three, but I remember only two. In the fourth canto, Srila Prabhupada explains, Prabhupada means one who takes the post of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as good as God. Shakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastrai. He is manifested Godhead. All the Shastras explain the spiritual master is a manifested Godhead. Right? We can't see Krishna. We can't access Krishna. Krishna is, sometimes people don't even believe that Krishna existed. But Prabhupada exists. There are records, there are movies, there's audio. Right? So we can relate better. Those who are materially attached, they can better relate to something that is materially manifested. Krishna is not materially manifested. Actually, the spiritual master is also not materially manifested, but it appears to us like that. Just like the deity. These are the facilities Krishna is giving us. He sends the bona fide spiritual master. He appears in the deity because that's all we can relate to, something for the senses. So even for the senses, Krishna appears in these ways. So the spiritual master is the manifested Godhead also, in the sense that he is very dear to Krishna. Very dear. Shaksha Dharitvena Samasta Shastra. Kintu Prabhoya Priya Eva Tasya. Srila Prabhupada says, if you want to be a guru, first of all, you must become very dear to Krishna. How do I become dear to Krishna? By following the order of my guru. Whatever he wants, I must learn how to read his mind. Simply accepting the instructions, oh, that is okay, that is very good. If Srila Prabhupada says, you do this, you do that, so that is good. But you must go deeper, you must understand his mind. What is the meaning of these instructions? What he wants, really? Sometimes the spiritual master cheats the disciple. If the disciple is not sincere, just like Krishna also cheats. Yatamam prapadyante. As they surrender unto me, Krishna says, I reward them accordingly. And as they do not surrender unto me, I do not reward them accordingly. You can also say like that. So the spiritual master, he tests his disciple. Narada Muni was testing Dhruva Maharaj. When Dhruva Maharaj became offended, a great devotee, Dhruva Maharaj, his stepmother offended him. She said, why are you here on the lap? You want to go on the lap of your father? You cannot go because you didn't come from my womb. She offended in such a horrible way. So Dhruva Maharaj became very hurt and he went to the forest. Because he knew that Krishna can mitigate his suffering. Krishna is the only person who can mitigate our suffering, no one else. So then when Narada Muni came when Dhruva Maharaj became very determined to reach Krishna consciousness. That is confirmed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Brahmande Brumite Konya Bhagavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasari Paya Bhakta Lata Bija. The spiritual master is sent to you by Krishna. It is not that you have to search on the internet. Who is my spiritual master? Sometimes devotees, they are searching. They say, I aspire for such and such spiritual master. You don't have to aspire. You aspire to clean your heart from rubbish desires, rubbish endeavors. Oh, I want to be famous. Oh, I want to have sense gratification. Oh, I want to be happy. I was reading, I also sent this to our friends on Facebook. I don't know if you remember. One of the obstacles in Krishna consciousness is to desire happiness. Can you imagine how high, how elevated this Krishna consciousness is? Even happiness. Sometimes we say, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. But that is a different type of happiness. That is transcendental happiness. But even devotee doesn't want happiness in Krishna consciousness. Daruka was fanning Krishna and he started fainting out of ecstasy. That is my favorite pastime. So instead of relishing, we would relish. Sometimes we relish. So there's some ecstasy coming, some tear is coming, like that. We relish. Oh, now I'm a very elevated devotee. We have sort of like a subtle sense gratification out of it. That, oh, now I'm feeling something. Oh, okay. After so many years of chanting, I feel, it becomes dangerous. This feeling becomes dangerous when we show to the others. Look, I have a tear here. Then you turn into a sajya. Should not show. A pure devotee suppresses. So Daruka, he suppressed the ecstasy. Why? Because he wanted to finish his service. So anyway, Narada Muni started testing Dhruva Maharaj. Oh, you little boy, why are you doing this meditation? Go home later on. Later on you will take up seriously Krishna consciousness. Why so young? There's no need. Only 5 years old, you should have sense gratification. Very nice. So Narada Muni was testing. It is not that he was sincerely instructing. He was cheating. And Dhruva Maharaj was determined. No, please, I cannot follow your instruction. I have been insulted and I want to see Krishna. So his motive was material. His motive to see Krishna was material. But because of his determination, he conquered the so-called cheating of Narada Muni. You see? Very interesting. So, anyway, we should follow the order of the spiritual master. In this way, we also become spiritual master. We become very dear to Krishna. Then our preaching will be very, very smooth. Because Krishna will tell people from within their hearts that you go and approach this devotee. He will tell you about Krishna. This is the secret of preaching. If you want to do it in a different way, if you want to ignore this transcendental technology, the interrelation between the super soul, your determination, and Krishna, and the other living entities' free will, he also has to be ready to accept the guidance of the super soul. Then there is a success. And if you want to ignore, if you think through some material means, through some material so-called bridging and whatever, cheating, and I can induce people to Krishna consciousness, then you're cheating yourself and you're cheating others. Doesn't work like that. Why? Because you are leaving out Krishna out of the equation. You think, I'm going to preach about Krishna consciousness, I'm going to give Krishna to others. And the first thing you do, you kick out Krishna from that process. You bring some material, so-called allurements. You see? Sometimes people, they think, if we have a very opulent temple, if we have lots of money on the bank account, then we will preach very nicely. Then people will come because they will see that we have not made any offenses to Vaishnavas. That is why Krishna is giving us money. You see? So there's a very nonsense mentality. I should not commit offenses to Vaishnavas, not because I will be bereft of monetary gains. What kind of thing is this? I should not commit offense because Krishna will be hurt. Krishna will be hurt. And when you offend the devotees, then Krishna is very hurt. Because again, Kintu Prabhoya Priya Evatasya. The devotee is very dear to Krishna, especially the spiritual master. See, anyone who's preaching this Krishna consciousness is a spiritual master. Not that, we should be without a spiritual master. There must be a spiritual master. Everyone becomes a spiritual master. This is the order of Lord Chaitanya. So, the lotus feet of Krishna is very important. We meditate while reading the Srimad-Bhagavatam, first and second canto, purifies our impure, the dirty things in the heart. Then Krishna automatically manifests. We can see face to face like that. But first of all, we approach the lotus feet of Krishna. Meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna. This is the secret of advancement. Lord Chaitanya is also praying. Somehow or other, I have fallen into this material world. So you, my Lord, do me a favor. You please kindly make me an atom of the dust of your lotus feet. See, this is the Vaishnava humility. The Mayavadi, he wants to be Brahman, everything. I am God. I am everything. I control the sun. I control the moon. This is a Mayavadi rascal. So puffed up. What good he can do. Even he opens a hospital, even he does something good for the people. Such a rascal who thinks like that, so puffed up. Whatever he does is contaminated by this disease mentality. And look at the devotee Vaishnava. Lord Chaitanya is the greatest Vaishnava. He is Krishna, but he's showing. So he's the greatest devotee at the same time. Make me an atom of the dust particle. See, when you see dust, can you see the particles? They're so tiny you can't even see. So Lord Chaitanya says, better let me take the body of the dust particle at your lotus feet. That is my victory. Rather than becoming as good as Lord Brahma. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says, I want to be a dog in the house of a devotee, house of a Vaishnava. These are the aspirations of a Vaishnava. Or if you want to call them aspirations. From the materialistic point of view, everyone thinks these people are crazy. He wants to be an atom of dust. He wants to be a dog. They will think like that. These acharyas are crazy. These people, devotees, Vaishnavas are crazy. But that's what we have to become. Crazy for Krishna. And if you're not ready to become crazy for Krishna, then you have to become crazy for Maya. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Any questions?
Yeah, just one question. I was thinking that why Krishna doesn't incarnate as a like a Swamsa incarnation instead of giving it like as the spiritual master, because the spiritual master, we can commit big offenses to the spiritual master and then be, obviously Krishna consciousness is eternal but barred for some time from Krishna consciousness. So why Krishna doesn't come himself to give the knowledge, and Krishna himself doesn't accept offenses, like he becomes offended when his devotees become offended. Thereby it will be easier for us to go back to Krishna.
Well, you said because they make offenses, right? That's the problem.
Yeah.
They make offenses. So if Krishna comes, they make offenses also.
But Krishna doesn't mind so much if you offend him.
But Krishna is also not so merciful as his devotees. You see? So there are advantages and disadvantages. Yes, okay, yes. If you offend devotees, it's worse than offending Krishna. But if you please devotees, then it's better than pleasing Krishna. You see? Anything else?
Yeah, just one other thing that you mentioned, passing the test of the spiritual Narada Muni pastime, where Dhruva Maharaj is passing the test of Narada Muni.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just wondering, because Prabhupada also mentions in other places that one has to pass the test of the spiritual master.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, like, what actually is the test of the spiritual master, in plain terms?
Well, very simple. Are you willing to sacrifice your sense gratification to fulfill the order of the spiritual master? In Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada writes, Rupa Goswami writes, Prabhupada translates and comments, that one should be willing to do something that is ordinarily not pleasing to him for the sake of the spiritual master. And simultaneously, he should reject something that is pleasing to follow the order of the spiritual master. So this is surrender. Surrender means my interest is secondary and ultimately zero. My interest. That is irrelevant. If you surrender to Krishna, Krishna will take care of your self-interest. That faith you must have. If you don't have that faith, you're not surrendered. You still have to practice more.
And what is that self-interest? Because like Krishna will take care of your self-interest.
Anything. I want this, sometimes even devotees say, I want this type of service. I want this type of service. I don't want to serve in this way, I want to serve in that way. That is also self-interest. Because you're thinking of course, if they're serving Krishna, that is very nice, very good. That is an elevated position. But a pure devotee is not picking his service. Just like Srila Prabhupada, you can see, he went to New York and he was living with hippies and people addicted to LSD. There was a guy who, attacked Prabhupada on LSD. He was doing some scary caricatures on Prabhupada. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Prabhupada could have said, well, where's my Vyasa-san? What is this? Prabhupada is not so foolish. He goes everywhere, whatever. Krishna says, you have to go there. Okay, sure, no problem. Krishna says, you now have to take poison. We have to take. Like Prahlad Maharaj.
Right. Also, Prabhupada, he writes in his Jaladuta diary, now I'm just remembering because you mentioned this when he first came to New York, and he writes that make me dance as you like. Is that his words?
Markin and Bhagavata Dharma, that is not exactly the diary, but anyway.
Okay. So, but anyway, those words are there, that you can make me dance as you like. The poem, right? He writes.
Yes.
Okay. So that's all. Thank you, Prabhu.
Alright. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Namo Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Samrita Namade Namaste Saraswati Gurvani Brajadina Nirvishesha Shunamari Bhashartadi Sutarine. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Namaste,